This is Honey Badger Nation,
where real estate agents from around the globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires
and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey Badger Nation.
Hey, I'm here with my friend and an amazing realtor, Jordan Ames. We came over to EXP about the same time together about a year ago, and I believe it's been quite an amazing year for Jordan. So, Jordan, I'm just going to let you talk to us and tell us about your journey. Tell me a little bit about your real estate journey. How did it start out? How are you doing? What's happened?
Yeah, so I got into real estate I got licensed at the end of 2014, and then really started basically January 1 of 2015. Prior to that, I did executive security. So the most glamorous way I can describe it is bodyguard, but about 99% of it was sit in front of banks and computers and making sure empty houses were locked up. I did that for about 3.5 years and, had some good experiences and the money was okay, but the schedule sucked. I really didn't have any upward mobility within kind of the company. It was very structured, and I liked the idea of, the harder I worked, the more money I could make. Yeah. And so I looked into real estate and decided, I'm going to give this a shot. And for me, my, a first year win would have been making 50 grand and, working 50 hours a week. And I ended up blowing way past that. And, that was now, 7+ years ago. Completely changed the trajectory of my life, my family's life. Real estate investor now. I've got 9 rental properties, and all of that came from just saying yes and jumping in. So it's been awesome. I started at Keller Williams, and that's where actually you and I met. Yes. And we were there for quite a while. Really liked the culture there and the training there. Yep. And and then came to EXP about a year ago. Things were just kind of shifting in the market, and was in a place in my business where I thought, it's time to look at other options. When I saw you move, I had a lot of respect for you, and that made me kind of perk my ears.
Great. Well, if you could go back into time and give yourself, you could talk to your 2014 self, and what would you say? What piece of advice would you give yourself over your real estate career?
Yeah. So, to a new agent, one of the first things I tell them was don't get hung up on the business cards, the website, the app, signs, all that stuff. If you don't have transactions, none of it matters. Mm-hmm. And so thankfully I didn't spend a ton of time on that, but I do remember being focused on that. I got to have a good looking website, and I got to have, my logo and my business card and all that stuff. And really, you just got to get out there and start failing. I really built my business my first 2 years door knocking and doing open houses, and found good success with that. I closed 17 homes my first year. I didn't know anybody in the market. So it was all just me hitting the pavement, and not a knock against those people who have a big sphere of influence. But for some people, it is easier than it is for others. They've just got a bunch of people they know in the area, and business starts to flow in. And I really had to grind it out. But I knew the alternative was going back to, a career that I did not see myself in long term. So my fear of failure is what really drove me. So I would just, tell somebody getting into the business, start doing lead generation, find lead generation that you can do consistently, and focus on that and go 100% in on it. Another way I kind of look at it too is I love challenges. And so sometimes man, what if I moved, how would I restart in another market? So, and for me, it would be, with the skill set now for sell by owners. I've had good success with those, although they can be a little challenging. But I'd probably just do door knocking for open houses, do the open houses, and do for sale by owners. So I'd ramp up.
Yeah. I call that shiny object syndrome. There are so much 100 emails a day of do this or do that, or buy this or buy that, or social media this or that. And the key to success is remember the basics, back to the basics. And especially as we see a shift, which I think we're seeing in the market right now, it's the people who remember the basics and get back to them, I think, that are going to thrive in the market going forward. So that's great advice. So when I first met you, you were a solo agent, and then you had a small team, and now, so what position do you have? How do you talk to me about that journey?
Yeah. So real quick before going back to our last question, one of the quotes that always sticks to me, and I explain it to people either getting into the business or thinking about it, is real estate is simple, not easy. So the path is there. It's all laid out. You can find all the information you need. It's about executing. And yeah, you mentioned it and you hit the nail on the head as we get bombarded with, buy leads from here, buy leads from there. And as a new agent, do not mess with that. Just jump in, do the harder work. Usually you've got more time than money. So that's the best way to really get going. And then, yeah, so as far as my journey, started out as a solo agent. Teams weren't that big of a thing, especially not in our market that I can remember. So I didn't really know of teams as being an option. I had to figure it out myself. I give credit to KW. They had a good onboarding and training system at the time, and that's what attracted me. But it comes down to the agent themselves to actually execute. And so I took the information, I moved on it. I was a sole agent for probably about 2 years. Then I brought on an assistant / transaction coordinator. Did that for maybe another 6 to 9 months, and then I brought on a buyer's agent. When I moved from KW to EXP just over a year ago, I had a small team, basically myself, one full-time buyer's agent, and a director of operations.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my move to EXP, I talked to my director of operations, and you know who this person is at the time. And, I said, hey, if we're going to do this, I'm going to need your help. There's a lot of moving pieces. We had a lot of business going.
Yeah.
So I sign up, I make the move, and they're out of here.
She bailed on you. First thing when we got here, first thing all set up, ready to go. Oops, I'm leaving. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So a lot of that fell back on me. It was a stressful time. But it was just put your head down. What's, the next important task that we need to get done? How do we take care of the clients that they're not being disrupted? And we got through it. And I got to say, having you there to support, Chris and his big team available to support was definitely very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the tribe that you surround yourself is extremely important in finding success. And so that definitely helped get through that. So then I had my team, was running kind of a lean operation, doing 80 to 90% of our business by repeat and referral, big on the Buffini systems. So a lot of client events and relationship building through that. And then also networking with other agents in other markets. And then, I brought on 2 more agents that were part-time that were actually both past clients. So I was pretty honored. They came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. And what's awesome is with EXP, it was like, fantastic. Come join my team, get a beneficial cap, get all the training, support, everything you need. And if you do want to go out in the future, I'm still here behind you because our ships are aligned. We've got aligned interests here because of rev share and everything else. And so it was a good fit. They came over. And then in attracting a large real estate group to EXP, got connected with a guy, Patrick Allison, and probably about a 6-month process, kind of chatting with them, showing him what it was all about and where I thought it could benefit his team. And he ended up making the move. Within probably 2 to 3 weeks of him making the move, we actually sat down and he presented an opportunity of he was looking for a market director. So it would be, I could still do my own personal sales, but really start focusing more on growing other agents. And that's where I saw myself getting in the next couple of years, is helping grow other agents and building out a team bigger, being able to provide the expertise that I've built up over the time, and then also kind of scale back a little bit on the day-to-day business. I got 2 young kids. I've got big aspirations
Baby.
of
you have a baby,
9-month-old and a 4-year-old. So a lot of sports and activities and stuff like that's coming up, and it's important to me to be available for those.
Hey, so let me just, because I want to drill down on what you just said, but something popped into mind, and I know the answer for myself, but I'm kind of curious. I bled KW. I was there for a long time, been very involved. And so I know what it was for me that caused me to start to look around at my options. But was there any sort of, and there's no shade to Keller Williams, great company, great training, great culture, all of that, love them to this day. But, things change in life, right? So was there a sort of a defining point for you that you said it was time to start looking?
There was just some changes at our local office, and there was just some cultural stuff that was going on that I didn't know how long I was going to be there, whether or not it was going to be with EXP or whatever. There was just stuff changing. And so I was kind of the point in my business too, where I didn't need a lot of what first attracted me to KW.
Right.
Was very independent, had all of my systems up and running. And so that was probably what spurred me, is looking at the model of EXP and realizing, holy cow, like even if I don't change anything, this is going to be more profitable to my business.
Yeah, that's like they say, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, 100%. And I had heard about EXP probably 2 years prior, when it first kind of came to Nevada, but they were still figuring it out. And I listened to the crap talking from people at KW, from stuff online, and I kind of just dismissed it. And that was a very expensive mistake. Now in hindsight, but
Yeah.
what's the saying? The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. So
Exactly.
I made the move, and it's been awesome. I didn't even talk about agent attraction for 6 months, because for me, I was not going to be the agent that people they think about EXP and the chatter about, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, and there's agents who don't sell anything sometimes, and they give it a bad name because they jump over and they start recruiting. I wanted to flesh it out. I wanted to make sure I was going to be here for a while.
The thing is that is icing on the cake, really, if you want to look at it like that. It's, for me, I needed another challenge. I was feeling a little stagnant, kind of. I think you said it well. The things that attracted you weren't the things that were relevant at that point in your career. And I needed a little shot in the arm, and Lord knows I got that. And look at you. I mean, so now you've been here a year, your business has thrived. And because of being here, you now have the opportunity to be a part of a mega team, and found your niche as the leader, your leader in building out that team.
Yeah.
So, and would that have happened had you not made the move?
No, 100% not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, these conversations have kind of come about organically. And that's what I always tell them, like, look, don't move for the rev share. That's not why you move.
No.
But I just know that if you
though.
do, yeah, it is. And it's a, you've been in the business for a long time. You do a lot of transactions. You've got a good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the same way about myself. And I'm like, what? People are just going to come ask me questions about it. Just organically, it's going to happen. I don't even have to focus on it. Now my rev share tree, I think, is 26 people in a year.
Yeah.
And you never know who might ask you about the opportunity. That's some big, team builder in the making. And so that's what's really cool, is you don't have to focus on it. You don't have to pull back from your real estate business. It's just going to organically happen, and you never know who's going to come over.
Well, then, so let's talk about that for a minute, because, your reasons for making a move, if I heard you right, were because what you needed originally, your needs had changed and you need something more. And kind of like me, I needed another shot in the arm. So, how has being at EXP solved that problem for you? What have you found? What have you found in terms of culture and inspiration and ideas? For me, one of the reasons I love this company is because it's so entrepreneurial. So many entrepreneurial types gravitate to it that it's just, I mean, it's all the ideas are incredibly refreshing. And I have been in the business for a while, and it's great to see. What about you?
Yeah, I think the culture was, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but it was nice to see, because at KW, it felt collaborative when I was there. It didn't feel like, catty and like we were all competing against each other. Because in reality, most of us have our own sphere of influence. We don't run in the same circles traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came to EXP, it was legit, like 100%. Everybody wanted everyone to succeed. And it's because of the model. There's no like, oh, let me know if you need help. It's like, no, what are you doing to grow your business? Like, I want to help you. And you, Chris, everybody I've come across, it's like, hey, here's the tools. What do you need? Let's all grow. So I really like that. I think it's a lot of growth-minded people. Like you mentioned, that's kind of what gets attracted to this. So I've been blown away at how collaborative it really is, because that was one thing I wasn't really expecting. If I'm being honest, at first it was mostly just a business decision of, hey, wow, I'm going to make more money being in this model with the way that I operate my business.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Well, so what kind of coaching and training now that you're at EXP? What are your resources? What are you taking advantage of? What has helped you the most?
Yeah, I mean, I like the EXP Marketing Center. Actually, it's probably one of the tools that I use most. Is
Really?
just for social media postings. It's super easy. You just pop the pictures in. I use the EXP Workplace, so that's basically Facebook for Business. I'm in there all the time. Our team uses that for sharing listings and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. As far as coaching, I've been doing Buffini coaching, which obviously isn't EXP, but I think to grow in this, you do need coaching. You need the accountability because it's good to hear things over and over again because we kind of get burnout, especially running a small team. For me, and one of the reasons I considered making the move to this large group is I was tired of having to bring the motivation for 3 people every day, 3 to 4 people.
Right.
And so I liked the idea of being around somebody else who had big goals and big visions. And that was, something I've seen time and time again at EXP, actually.
I love the fact that every week, if you choose to, there's 80 hours worth of different people's input on, whatever let's say we're going back to basics and going to do work FISBOs again, because there haven't been any for years. So you just find somebody who's had success with that and, plug in for an hour and you're good to go. It's pretty amazing, the breadth of stuff. And the nice thing that I really like too is that, we're in Reno, Nevada. So it's biggest little city, but you still, and I think it's true no matter where you are, you kind of get tied into what's happening locally and you see the successful people locally, and maybe there's one person or another person, but the information kind of gets stale. And I love the fact that we're an international company. And so you may pick up a great idea from someone who's in Florida sharing, or someone, who's doing something completely different in Tennessee. And you think, I hadn't even thought about that. It hadn't been brought up around me. I'm going to give that a try. So I've been loving that on Workplace and in the world and things like that.
Yeah, I was actually talking to an agent that I know at another brokerage, and one of the things I'd brought up was the amount of live training every week. And I said, yeah, there's 70 plus hours. I'm sure it's up to 80 plus hours now. That was the last number I had heard, 70 plus hours a week of live training. I'm like, who teaches all that? And I was like, top producing agents from around the country and around the world, as a part of our icon status. We're incentivized to give back. And I think a lot of people would do it anyways, but it's great. You're getting top producers, not just some hand raiser in the office who likes to hear themselves talk and be in front of a group and pretend that they, are a high producing agent. Mm-hmm. These are people who are selling a lot of real estate and running really successful teams and sharing what works for them and in different parts of the country. Like you mentioned, you get little nuggets and it's like, dang, that would work here. Or I never thought of looking at it like that. So there's a lot of value there for sure.
Yeah. And congratulations on being an icon agent, about halfway through your first year. So good job on that.
Thank you.
Any parting thoughts you want to have? I want to make it short and sweet, but I really value your time for coming to chat with us about this, and we'll hope to have you back again sometime soon.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you, Kathy. You're one of the driving forces of why I came over when I saw you move. It definitely made me take a closer look. And for anybody considering making the move, I'd say just do your own research. That's what I did. Obviously, I trust Kathy, and I was very interested based on the fact that she moved, but I went and tried to find reasons why it wouldn't be a good fit. And honestly, I couldn't find them. So do your own research. Don't let people get in your ear that were with other companies. Make the decision for yourself. What's best for you, your family, and your business.
Do your research. Thanks a bunch, Jordan. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kathy. I'll see you at the rodeo.
Okay, I'll see you at the rodeo. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.